Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I have a slow process lesson to share with you as part of our geometry main lesson block. We're working through our Waldorf curriculum, Geometry and Number. This is by Live Education, and today we're going to be working on this lesson, which is straight lines form curved lines, which is a really neat lesson. So I'm working with my Strathmore drawing paper pad, and these are some of the previous lessons that we've done, which are really neat. And we're going to do one today, which actually looks really great even if you don't add any color to it. And we're only going to add a few bits of color here and there, but it actually looks really cool just as a pencil drawing, or if you want to use a fine liner to define it, I think that would look really neat. So I'm going to be using this 9-inch by 12-inch paper pad, and it does have some coils on the side which have kind of complicated some of the lessons because the straight edge kind of bumps into them. So I think like loose paper or just a main lesson book would be a lot easier. I think for this project, I'm going to just start out using my fine liner rather than my pencil, but I think you could go either way, and using a pencil means that you can erase if you make mistakes, which I often make. So let's go ahead and just try this with our fine liner to begin with, and I'm going to use my protractor, but you don't actually need to use a protractor for this. I believe that you could just use any angle, and depending on what angle you choose, it's going to slightly affect how your design will look. I'm going to go ahead and do, I think maybe, I'm also going to just eyeball this, and I'm thinking maybe a little bit wider. I think well, let's try 130 and 50. And I'll put my point right here. And let me grab my, I think I'll do 0.5. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up. And go all the way to the edge of the page. And same on this side. You can see how my ruler is getting in the way, or the spiral is getting in the way of my ruler. Okay, and I think that that's quite a wide angle, and I'm probably going to do this a couple of different ways so that we can kind of experience what it might look like with a tighter angle. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to just label the sides, and I think I want to do maybe possibly 1/2-inch increments. I'm going to go ahead and just do 1/2-inch increments, and I'm going to just place my ruler here. It's at 8.5. It doesn't really matter. I'm just needing 1/2-inch increments, so I'm just going to put a little dot at each 1/2-inch increment. And again, if you use smaller or larger increments, your design will ultimately have the same curve, like it'll still represent a curve, but it will look a little bit different. And I'm having a little trouble seeing my ruler, so I hope that all of these numbers are correct. Okay, so you have to do the same increments on the other side, of course. And I'm going to position this like this and mark it here. So these lessons are intended for Year 5 students all the way up to Year 8 students, and you can see how your students can handle some of these projects. Some of them are quite simple to do, and other ones require a little bit more understanding, or at least, in my opinion, a little more understanding will help have a different experience with the lesson. Okay, so here's the fun part that can get a little bit, you can get a little bit lost in it. We are using a pen, so it could be a good thing, and it might also end up being not a good thing. I do want to say that you could mark each point along the way so that you could keep track of it. And that way you know where to connect them. So let me show you how that would look, and then I can just erase them. So this being point 0, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was the line from before. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Now here's the part that's going to be important to do, is now you have to reverse the numbers, and you're going to be doing 17 here, or basically 1 from here. 1, 2, actually that was 1 right here. Let me erase that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And the reason why we're labeling the numbers is to just keep track of where you actually want to be placing your lines. And that's important because we do want to end up with what is going to look like a curve. So now we just need to connect 1 with 1. So there's my dot for 1. Here it is down here. And now we can just connect. Okay. And now we want to do 2 for 2. 2, and there's 2 right there. And then 3. Okay. And I'm going to continue up, and I'll meet you when we get closer to maybe point 14 or so. Let's see what happens. So that's looking super spectacular. It's mind-blowing how straight lines appear to make a curve here, and just the optical illusion and the depth that this drawing provides. It's such an awesome experience for students, and truly like awesome in the true sense of the word, because it is it's quite an experience to see, at least for me, to see straight lines produce this kind of curve and this kind of art, honestly. So trying to be really careful with drawing my lines, because sometimes you have to take into account just the width of the pen itself or the pencil. And this is one where being a little bit off it's not the worst. It's not like some other geometry lessons where the little bit that you're off actually affects the project down the line. So this is what it looks like when it's done, and I'm really glad that I used a fine liner for this. I'm just going to go ahead and erase the marks here for keeping track of the numbers. And once you get started with this, it's okay not to have the numbers, because it's very obvious when you're working through one, like the closest one to the bottom here, and then the one at the top. It's a little bit more challenging to make a mistake unless you just have your ruler over the spot that you're actually supposed to be working on. Okay, so there we go. Such a beautiful project. So now if you had your angle, which I think we ended up doing, was it about 80 degrees of an angle? We did quite a large angle. The shorter, or the smaller the angle rather, the tighter this curve will be. So we're going to do another one. We're going to make it quite a bit more narrow so that we can really see the difference. But first, I think I might color in just a little bit, because that's kind of fun, and it's going to bring out some beauty in this design, I think, a little bit. So I'm going to just start. I like to start with, I'm still in the phase of using my yellows and my oranges and reds. I still really like that color combination, so I'm going to just do yellow at the beginning here. You could do all one color, but I'm going to do a few different shades here, yellow and golden yellow. And okay, then I'm going to use this color here. And there's no rhyme or reason for the artistry. I'm just going to try to stay symmetrical when possible. And then go for a slightly darker orange. I'm going to sharpen that one. So let's see, let's go. Did I stay in a straight line? And then I think here. And then let's go here. Okay. Let's go, I think this is one shade darker. Then let's go all the way to this tiny little one here. Oops. Went out of the line completely there. Let's see if I can fix that with my eraser. Okay. Not great, but I think I did fix it. And then let's go right here to kind of balance out this darker orange. My color pencil is not sharpened well, and I can tell because it's hard to get into these little corners here. I think this would also look super stunning with markers. I think we're going right here. Especially some fine tip markers where you could really get into these smaller spaces really well. Okay, let's add one or two more colors here. Let's go to kind of a darker-ish, I think that's almost the same color. Let's see if we've got a stronger red here. Let's try this one. Okay. Let's go up to here. Oh, that looks almost the same. That's probably the same one. That's probably the same color. Let's go for, I hope that's a good color. Oops, that broke. actually going to try to erase this color, and let's see if that's, oh, that's much better. That's almost like a dark berry red. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3 up from here. 1, 2, 3, and then this color. Okay, and then let's go 2 over. And then 2 over here. And then let's go another 2. Actually, let's go 3. Go right above here. And right here. Okay, maybe we'll do, I kind of like this shade of red. So let's see if there's another color. Let's do this one. Oh, that's actually a bit more of a true red. So that's up 2 and then over 1. Okay, and then let's go up 2. All right, and let's just go another 1 higher right here. Okay, I feel like we need 1 down here or 1 over here. So I'm going to go back to that light golden yellow that we used right here. I'm going to add that one right here and right here. And then I'm going to add, I kind of feel like doing this. Might be a mistake, but let's go with it. And then 1 darker from here, so that would be one of these oranges. This one, I'm not sure, let's see. And then let's go with this color right here. Okay, I kind of made a mess there with that color. Let me try to fix it up a little bit. There are color pencil erasers. They don't take out everything. And actually, I'm not even sure that this is one, and I can't even read who the manufacturer is on it, but I really, really like this one quite a bit. So I'll try to find who the manufacturer of that one is. And let's do one more like red-ish color right here at the top. Just so that right down the middle, we're kind of going back and forth between 1 shade darker and 1 shade lighter, just for the fun of it. Because sometimes these projects, they just lend themselves to that creative measure. Okay, so I hope that you liked this project. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with a more narrow angle. So let's go ahead and do that one right now. At least you get the idea, so you can have a lot of fun with this. Let's just be really dramatic with our narrow angle. So start in the middle here, 20 degrees, 40 degrees. 60. Let's do 50. Yeah, let's do 50. Let's see, 20, 30, 40, 50. All right, let's try this and see. Let's see what happens here. Let me do 0.5. All right, and let's keep our increments at a 1/2 inch, and this way we can compare. So I'm going to just place it here at 9.5 and go 9, 8.5, and then just 1/2 inch increments all the way to the top, which I think we're going to get more than 17 increments, but let's see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark the other side, and I'll catch up with you. Okay, and let's go ahead and mark up our, well, actually, let me just count up the numbers just so we can see how many we have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have the same. Okay, and then I'm not going to label them this time. Hopefully it's not a mistake. And I'm just going to start. There we go. This one to this one. Okay. 3 to 3. It is certainly easier to have them numbered. Okay, I'm going to continue and I'll meet you when this is done. Okay, ooh, that looks pretty neat, and you can see that there's even more curvature. Let's compare between the two. So, like a wider arc, I suppose, versus this tighter arc, which looks really neat. I like both of them. I'm going to leave this one plain though. I'm not going to color this one in because I think it just looks really neat the way it is. However, you could get really creative with your lines, and you could do alternating colors of color pencils, and that would look pretty cool. Okay, so I've got one more design to show you, and that's when we do two of them interlocking together. So let's go ahead and try that one out because that's pretty neat. And I think I'm just going to do this one with pen as well. Okay, so we are going to use my ruler. Okay, so I know it's not quite even here because the coils are keeping my ruler from going all the way to the edge, but I'm going to do 2 points. I'm going to do at 1 and at 11. And then I'm going to do 2 angles that are the same from here, but I want the line, like I want this line here to be the same for both. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Again, I'm going to use my pen here. Okay. And then I'm going to do an angle on both sides with this at 90 and my, there we go, at 90. And I think if I do 45, I wonder where they would hit. Kind of want them to go here, which I think is about 45. If I do 45 here, let me just kind of see how that would, I think maybe more like, I think if I did 30 actually, I'm going to mark it at 30. And I'm going to mark this one the same. Let's get that here, and 90 and 30. Okay, so now let's see if we're getting that the way that I'd like it to be. Okay, this one. So it actually goes, I should have done just a little bit. There. Okay. If I had started just a touch below, then I would have gotten a proper equilateral triangle here, but I did not do that. Okay. So now we're going to be doing two shapes, and one of them is going to be here and the other one is going to be here. Yeah. And we're going to do I'm going to keep the same 1/2 inch increments on all sides. So I'm going to walk you, and we're going to label this one this time because we're going to need it. And let's go ahead and start. I'm just going to place my ruler here at 10. I'm kind of bummed that I didn't go all the way up, and there's nothing I can do about it now. But I would say if you're using the same paper size as I am, start it a little bit lower, or instead of doing a 30-degree angle, you could make it, well, actually I did 60. So, oh, and actually I wasn't even that accurate. Well, no, actually it was pretty good. That's kind of curious. I seem to be off just a touch. So probably this would have worked, but if you do it in pencil first, then you can erase it if it doesn't connect at the top, which I think is going to look a little bit cooler. So let's go ahead and do our 1/2 inch increments. So that would be here. Okay. So I'm going to label these ones. Okay, and then let's go ahead and put this down over here. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so now, something kind of neat. So we actually want to start with one over here. I sharpen my pencil. Okay, so that's going to work for this side, and we want this to also work for this side. So we want our 1 to coordinate with the 1 over here. So now, takes a little bit of mind work, but I think we can get there together. Let's go ahead and put our ruler down. And again, 1/2 inch increments. Okay. So now again, we want this one to connect up here. So 1, 2, okay, let's see how this is going to look. I'm very excited about it. I mean, truthfully, I already know what it's going to look like, but I'm excited to show you. Okay, let's start. 19 and 19. Here we go. Okay, 18. Okay, I'm going to continue. That is looking spectacular. Got one more here to do, and then we're going to move to the other side. And certainly you could do all 3 angles of this triangle, but we are just going to do 2 of them at this time. So neat, especially on its side. It looks just brilliant. Okay, now let's go ahead and start on this side. Again, matching up 1 to 1. And eventually there's going to be some overlap. So 2 here and 2. And 3 and 3. Four. 5. Okay, I actually want to show you this whole process rather than cutting away, but and I hope that you're working alongside with me, and if you are, I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you for this lesson. Okay, so that is looking really neat so far. Let's go on to 8. I love the Waldorf approach to geometry. And if you can hear the sounds of the neighborhood, that's just cars and sometimes gardeners and sometimes dogs and sometimes construction. There's a lot going on in the neighborhood. So I love the Waldorf approach to geometry. I really actually love it to most of the subjects. And this is one of those ones where you might stop and think, well, you know, what's the purpose of this? You know, where's the math involved in this? And for me, part of this is just the joy and beauty and the reverence that you would have for all the disciplines, but math especially, just because sometimes I think we lose sight of why geometry in particular was invented or discovered in the first place. And a lot of times we use math, we use basic arithmetic for most of the things that we do on a daily basis. You have to have just a basic understanding and knowledge of math for just about all of your daily activities. But what we don't always use are some of these other disciplines within math. And when we can, and when we do notice them, especially in nature or in astronomy or just in the structure of a plant or a flower, there's a feeling that emerges. And it's that feeling, that awe, that I want for myself and for my students especially, because it gives you, in my opinion, it gives you a feeling that you can associate with math or geometry or any of the other math disciplines that can maybe be inspiring, that can, when you're done with a project like this, you're looking at your work and you are admiring what you've done, and also just having this delight at what you can accomplish. And it's different than doing, say, long division or working with fractions. You're going to have just in my opinion, you're going to have a different feel when you are done with a project like this. And if you don't, I would love to know why, and also what kind of subject areas do you get this same, or what I would call just an awe for the project, for the material, for the information, the knowledge, just whatever comes from the lesson. If it's not in a project like this, I'm really curious what kinds of projects you would do that you end up at the end just having a moment of reverence for the subject area. And for me, for the students, what I would hope that this does for them is give them the encouragement to pursue their lessons, pursue higher learning in this subject area. And it also brings a lot of joy to what could otherwise be, for some people, a very dry experience with the subject area. Okay. So that's what it looks like. I think it looks really cool. I'm not going to color it in. I think that coloring it in for this particular project might diminish some of just the spectacularness of this. If you can't tell, I'm totally delighted. And if you wanted to continue, you could do one more up at the top. I believe you could just you would label each of these sides and you would get even like another structure, and I'm very tempted to do that. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed these lessons in making curved lines out of straight lines. I hope that you have a lot of fun with it and try different angles and different colors or markers or different shapes, which would be really neat. And if you'd like to see some of the other lessons in this geometry unit, you can tap on the screen right now. That link is also in the description box below. And if you'd like to see how we're homeschooling on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine, and you can now find me on TikTok at Pepper and Pine.